We haven't seen much of our host Eddie McGuire since his shock early departure after 23 years, almost 23 years.
Can you have an early departure after 23 years?
At the helm as president of the Collingwood Football Club, and we haven't had a chance to delve into those dramatic days that followed the release, or the leaking, I suppose, of the Do Better report into racism at the Collingwood Football Club. We only found out yesterday for certain that Ed was going to be on the show tonight. So, Ed, I'll ask you first of all, going back to February, how deeply do you regret using the words proud and proud day?
Look, it's not so much the regret, is it 24 hours afterwards at the Collingwood AGM, I apologise. People took what I said the wrong way. Clearly what I was saying is, and I suppose this is the thing, and I've thought long and hard about this, but I thought, how did I miss this? How did I muck this up? How do people take it the wrong way was the first thing. Clearly what I was saying was that for 12 months we've been working on this report. It's something that is very, very a big part of my life and everyone in football's life. We hate racism. We are working so hard on equality. It is a story of our time. Black Lives Matter.
It's very
for the last 12 months.
poorly chosen words, I wasn't.
Well, you know,
even Gillan McLachlan criticised you.
Yeah, no, that's right. But everyone had to say whatever.
And
they
I
had
think
to
in
say.
the end that was ultimately what led to your undoing.
No, well, whether you get done for a misstep in a press conference, you know, that's neither here nor there. The point of the situation was, I was very proud of that we had taken the step, a step that no one else has done. We have set our club up to be a leader now going forward. There's been issues and mistakes made over the journey. Racism and equality, we've seen the marches during the week. There is a new sea change and we wanted to be ahead of it. So when I spoke with the other directors before we went out, Jodie Sizer was very strong on we should take hold of this and be proud of where we're going.
So now, it was a collective decision by the board, it wasn't just you.
Did you have a prepared statement, Ed?
Sorry?
Was it a prepared statement?
Did
you make changes late?
I wrote
was it a club statement?
No, there was a club statement we gave, Ross, that actually had an apology in it. Okay, so that went out. So
Jodie also agreed with the words proud.
No, Jodie was there. She was proud of what we were trying to do. I accept what I said. I'm not handing off any blame to anybody else. Here's the situation. We are proud of what we were trying to achieve and where we've got to. And now, I apologise the next day, I look back on it now and say we've made something really great, a bold step forward to try and do the right thing. And it's something that, you know, a couple of days later when I looked at it again, I thought it's going to be better if I get out of here and resign, give the club fresh and clear air to do things. And that's why I resigned. It's as simple as that.
We saw past players disappointed or come out and speak. We had the pretty strong letter from the current players, which was endorsed by everyone at the club. But Ed, getting back to the board, who also obviously didn't convince you to stay, do you believe that Peter Murphy and Paul Licuria turned on you and helped lead to your exit? Well, because that is what your supporters are telling me.
Look, Karen, the first thing is I didn't discuss it. I made the decision myself, OK?
I don't think that's quite right. I think.
Well, I'm telling you, I was there. Right?
But you would only have done that if you felt you didn't have the support.
No, not at all. I resigned earlier. I looked at it and I thought this is becoming something that's it's too much of a lightning rod. I want to do the right thing. Right? My whole life has been dedicated to promulgating the great things of AFL football and the Collingwood Football Club. So I made that decision. You can ask me as many questions as you like from here on. I am now a reporter. I've said all I've had to say. The last thing I'm ever going to be is a rat on people at the Collingwood Football Club.
Well,
no, I'm just saying that. No,
okay,
I'm just saying,
okay. And at the end of that press conference,
you've asked me questions. Can I at least?
You say you're not going to comment on it. That's fine.
No, I'm saying
at the end of the
but
press
what I'm saying
conference,
is this. You do not. I am now finished at the Collingwood Football Club. I'm going to go and barrack for the Pies. I'm a Pie till I die. I love the club. I love AFL football, and I want everything to do well. I'm not one of these people who walks away hoping that there'll be Schadenfreude and the place will fall on its head. Quite the opposite. I love what I did. I did my best. We made mistakes. This is a critical issue in our life, in our whole world. Equality, racism, women's rights. We want to be at the forefront of it.
When you walked out of the press conference and during the press conference, you were clearly very emotional.
Of course I was, yeah. And it's the hardest day of my life, outside of personal tragedies. Of course it was. It was something that meant so much to me, Caroline. And, you know,
so can you share with us
for
now,
12 months looking ahead, we had some great plans to do things, but it was the right thing to do. I accepted the responsibility. I'm not laying any blame to anybody, and please don't think when I said Jody Sizer before, we discussed the thing. I wrote what I said. I read what I said.
So how are you doing now? Because it has been, and we didn't know you were going to be on tonight. You thought you might take a few more weeks before you came back onto
Well, part of that was because,
television.
you know what, I didn't want it to override. You know what, I think everyone wants to go to the footy. We haven't been to the footy for 18 months.
But how are you doing personally?
No, I'm great. Of course I was sad, but it was a tough couple of weeks, Caro. Basically the next day, one of my great heroes and friends, Murray Wiedemann, died. And a week later, one of my best friends in life, Michael Gudinski, died. So it was a pretty tough time in that situation, but I didn't have an outlet. I'm not the president of Collingwood anymore, so I'm not doing press conferences. I don't do breakfast radio anymore. I stepped back from that. I wasn't the president of the Melbourne Stars anymore. I'm out of that. This is the first opportunity for me to be anywhere. I've done 3 days of records, 18 records of Millionaire Hot Seat. I mean, it was reported on the weekend that I secretly came back to TV. It wasn't a secret when you have a full show going.
I asked you.
But other things that were written in the paper on the weekend was that I, pushed Daniel Andrews down the stairs. I mean, there's a lot of stuff written about me. But the point being, I'm good. But to answer your question directly, I was really, really sad, and it affected me greatly. But I'm okay now because you get up and you dust yourself off and you go again. And I want the Collingwood Football Club to be as good as it can be, and I look forward to seeing what we do in the future.
You've protected so many people at the Collingwood Football Club, so many players over the years. You've looked after so many people. Nathan Buckley's one that I haven't heard speak too much about your situation since exiting, and obviously we've seen what the players had to do with their statement and those sort of things. Did you feel let down by some people at Collingwood?
It's such a emotional topic. And a lot of people wanted to step forward, and I said, don't. Okay? And that's not because I'm a martyr. It's because we want to go forward.
So your relationship with Nathan Buckley is not
My relationship is fine.
Do you know who leaked the report? Because it was very damaging the way it came out.
Look, it was something we were looking at, Caroline, and...
Do you know who leaked the report?
Oh, I've got a fair idea where it's come from, but it doesn't matter. You spend your life chasing... No, I'm not answering any questions on that. As I said, I'm not on a witch hunt. The report is what it is.
Is there any truth to the suggestion someone at board level leaked that report?
No, I think that would be absolutely... If it is, then that's just total shock to me.
But the report was always going to see the light of day, wasn't it?
Of course it was. We were working through it, Ross. I mean, it was never being hit. I mean, people said, why didn't you release it earlier? You don't release these things in Christmas week.
It'll be a fascinating exercise
if you did. That's what
17 other
shifty
clubs
politicians do. They release things in Christmas week.
Do you think it should be mandated every club? It's such a serious issue.
Look, it's something that, as I said, I'm reticent to say the word proud, but I'll say it again. We're proud that we stepped forward. It's a big issue, and you know what? I'm done with it now. I'm finished. I'm no longer at the Collingwood Football Club. I'm a supporter. If I could be the fifth bloke on the bench on Friday night, I would be. If I could sit in the crowd with Jofra, I'd do that. But I'll just go quietly to the game, and I'll move out and let the Collingwood Football Club go on. It's had greater people in the football club than me, and it's survived and prospered. And I'm proud. I'd like to think that people look back and say, yeah, there were some things that didn't go right, but in 23 years, I've seen in and out a few prime ministers and premiers in that time. People make a few mistakes, but I'm proud of where we've left the club. It is in rude health. The list is great. The salary cap's in shape and everything. We'll get to that a bit later on, I'm sure. But we've also got $20 million under funds, $15 million in cash to rebuild the Holden Centre for women and for our health. We're setting up a hospital. Things are great at Collingwood.
You did amazing things for the club too over a long journey.